morning, good morning, good morning. Mikey and I are back again with a very
We
special
are
guest. Woo!
this guy is incredible. What a genius. It's really incredible that we get to interview so many incredible people, including this genius who seeks to impact 1 million people. And I'm sure he's already done that. And he trains trainers, mentors, healers. I mean, he does it all. He sits on some councils that he's going to talk about, and he has this incredible explanation of what a hero is. I would love to have him explain that. We are so excited to have you here, Harrison Klein. The floor is yours. Please tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here. And, you know, my favorite topics in the whole world have to revolve around happiness and joy, because it is foundational to all things that exist. You know, the universe is a place that's not trying to achieve anything. It's infinite. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't have any ambition. There's no place for it to go, because it is everything. So where do you go? So what does an entity that goes nowhere, that has no ambition, does? What does it do? It basically, you know, plays. It's a playful universe. And what is play? It's fun, right? Play is about fun. And where does happiness come from? The ability and the capability to have fun, you know, and that's an incredible thing. So, you know, when you realize that fun is as limited as any other thing, is as limitless as any other thing, you know, we start to come into the place of where, you know, that becomes a foundational portion. Because as kids, we come from source energy. We land in a physical body, and we basically evolve from that situation. But we don't know anything but enjoyment. You know, it's only when we get to be about 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 or one of those kind of places that adults start to yank that ability to be on and play all the time away. So the learning accessibility and the learning acceleration slows down dramatically from that point on. So, you know, there's all kinds of levels of happiness and things to it, but, you know, the foundation of who we are at the very core is joy. It's also love, and joy and love are synonymous in a way. Love is a product of joy, and joy is a product of love. So it's an interchangeable kind of experience. So humanity is experiencing a change right now, right? So everybody is going through this incredible change. And what my contention is, and I have a vision for the future for all of humanity. My contention is that, you know, without vision, the people perish. Solomon said that in the Bible a long time ago. So vision, I have a vision for the future, and you know, I want to hold, I want to build I want to build new life stories for people. I want to give them a new operating system based on joy and happiness. And that way, the accomplishments that we have, the achievements that we all want, the things that we all need, basically come from a place of play, which is no resistance. When you're playing, you're just having fun. There's not a sense of resistance. All of the ills of mankind have come from resistance. They've come from the belief that we are separate from what we're experiencing. But in play, there's no resistance. It's like when you're dancing to the music or singing, you know, it's just flowing through you. So the state of flow is a state of play. The state of flow is a state of happiness. And so, you know, I want to end this. I want to create a revolution that ends greed and dominance and ass kicking in the world. You know, I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe that guy who gets the most amount of toys should be the guy who is you know, most in charge. I believe that basically we want to make life cool again, and we want to make a situation whereby happiness is a currency. It's a social currency. It is the social currency, basically, between people, not between governments, but certainly between people. The happier we are between people, the better our relationships. The better our relationships, the more our success. The better our success, the more we can impact millions of people and lots of people. And I have a world vision. You know, the world has become, it needs a revolution in consciousness. It needs a revolution in values. And that's part of what I believe I'm on a mission to do. So we can go from there. I mean, we need a new hero's journey for everybody. And you guys can start asking me questions about that. But a revolution in consciousness and a revolution in values is part of what COVID is all about. Because if you believe in Source as a directing influence for all of humanity, and the fact that it controls the universe, basically, you have to come to the space of where you believe that, the universe is perfect in and of itself. So it has perfection. Only we have imperfection because we're just a fragmented part. But the universe itself is perfect in and of itself in its complete entirety and wholeness. That is the God essence. But the thing is that, as we find these paths that elevate us, that put us into higher space, the perfection of the universe becomes clear to us, clearer and clearer and clearer. And as we perfect ourselves into clearer and clearer spaces, happiness and joy are the outcome. It is the outcome. It's not about what toys you can accumulate. It's not about being dominant over somebody else. It's not about manipulating circumstances. It's about social currency. It's about the elevation of the human spirit. And the elevation of the human spirit is the quantum field of joy. So that's where I think we should start, and let's make life fun. Okay, you guys are on.
So what are some of your? That was beautiful. It was so well said. I loved everything you said. We're all about inclusion and diversity and celebration. So of oneself. What are your daily practices that you do to remain in a state of mindfulness or just being in a state of greatness?
Well, I start every day with gratefulness. I mean, the very first thing that comes to mind when I open my eyes in the morning is, thank you for life and another day. And then I go through, probably, I don't know how many minutes, but a few minutes of thanking for all the things that are important to me. I thank, for the abundance. I thank for my woman. I thank for the house. I thank for my feet. I thank for my eyes. I thank for the places that I've been able to go, the experiences I've had. I thank for the people I love, and I thank for the people I've yet to love and that I'm coming on to love. Yeah, and I thank for the greatest thing, and I have a call to action every day. My day starts with, what can I do that's great today? What am I going to do? Not can I do? What am I going to do that'll be great today? So that sets me up correctly. And then the thing I know is that I've been so joyful for so long in my life that it is so habitual that I am totally uncomfortable in even moments when I'm not. So I immediately recalibrate. Everything that once irritated me is like, that used to take long times to recalibrate me back into any state of stability or just solidness, now takes this amount of time, and it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So, my practices are, how fast can I recalibrate when something, annoys me or irritates me? But very little of that happens anymore. I mean, I live a life where I am unconditional about who I love. I'm unconditional about my joy, and I'm unconditional about the people that I interact with. Interaction is the essence of great interaction. Is about the essence of being a child at heart, and then having a purpose with that child being at heart. I have a purpose of getting a new bicycle, and go right from it, from the child. I have a purpose of creating 1 million upgraded lives, So it's just, the bigger you get, the bigger your purpose. But if you add purpose to your joy, it becomes focused clarity. And there's nothing like clarity, yeah. So yeah, that's my daily practice is, I have a lot of feel-good moves, and stuff that I do. Before I, have interactions with my friends, I often put on music I really love just to get in the right space and to get into a higher space. I do things like, You know, I enjoy other people's pets. I don't have any right now, but I think about pets a lot. You know, I definitely love to hug it out with my baby. You know,
That's so sweet. I love that.
you know, I just have a lot of surefire ways that allow me to stay in the flow, that keep me in the flow. And a lot of that is appreciation and gratefulness, and then the actions of being in flow. So the actions also are physical. They're not just mental, they're not just heart, they're physical. You have to be in a state of movement. So if you're in a state of movement, you know, your physiology doesn't bring up the resistance to all the things that you know, are difficult or whatever. So, you know, and I also have an upside of feeling bad, you know, I also want to see the upside of feeling bad about anything. If I feel negative about something, if I'm angry about something, I want to see what is the upside of that? What's the good things that I need to learn from that? And how can I create something joyful from that? You know, I want to live my best life. So my, you know, my rituals are about, you know, the best ways to feel good, to reach for good thoughts, to reach for good experiences, and to appreciate and tell other people how much I love them continuously. You know, my fiance, Marbeth Dunn, I mean, she is a master at this. I've never heard her in some conversation where she didn't find something to appreciate about somebody.
Wow.
Ways. Yeah. So, yeah. So she's a master at that, and I learned from masters. so, so it's a beautiful thing. And everything that I've learned, all the people I've mentored under, all the spiritual experiences I've had, have trained my brain into experiencing the joy part of things. I mean, I love making music. I love having good conversation. I love eating healthy food. I love feeling good with other people. You know, I love, you know, all the best things in life. I love staying home. I love being with kids. I mean, the laughter of children is like the most kind of fun thing that I think there is on the planet, really. So I like being surrounded by 15 puppies looking me on the face. I'm laying down on the ground.
So good.
Yeah, so, you know, all those things. I do whatever I can to make my life happy. You know, I'm not involved in trying to make anybody different or better, but I do want to make people different. I think one of the problems in the world right now is that we all are trying to make improvements about a lot of things, but we don't have to make improvements. We have to just recognize our difference. So the more you try to improve, actually, the less innovative you become, because all you're trying to do is tweak something that you've heard or learned from somebody else. You know, but when you say, I want my difference to shine, then you look for the innovation within you. And the innovation is a form of innovation. And innovation is really foundational to happiness, because play is about innovation, right? It's about having fun. And so it's about doing what is spontaneous. It's about doing what makes a difference, what is strong within you, you know? So I like the idea of raising joyful kids in this world. I like the idea of having a future that has happiness as the main social currency. And it is right now, but it's just not recognized by people of power, because they prioritize power over interaction, you know, over people. So, you know, I just like to stay positive, you know, about whatever there is. And, you know, the greatest thing about happiness to me, one of the greatest things about happiness to me is, you know, just really creation, you know, and just being creative and having good values, basically. I don't know, just I want to make happiness the tool of the mind that, you know, I can't get enough of. So, and the greatest thing about happiness, one of the greatest things, this is where I lost my train of thought there for a second, but the greatest thing about happiness is being able to laugh so spontaneously, instantly, and everything amuses you, because really the universe is somewhat absurd. The human race is somewhat absurd. And, you know, all these wars, all these diseases, all these illnesses, you know, the animal kingdom rarely deals with any of that kind of stuff. I mean, they deal with fighting, but that's territorial and that's survival, you know, of food. But anything else, you know, has all been some human pain point that has been brought up for the purpose of manipulation. I don't want to be manipulated. I'm not going to be manipulated.
So,
Absolutely.
So I'm curious because, you know, you talk about happiness is sort of like a practice, but I believe that a lot of people try and improve their lives from a point of feeling broken or they need to improve themselves. And I believe that happiness and joy is the way to live and that is the way to be, but a lot of people don't understand that. And I know that you help people shift their paradigms. How do you help people see that they aren't broken and that they are perfect just as they are, and they can just, you know, just change their perception of themselves and their lives?
First of all, your self-talk creates your reality. A great part of your self-talk creates your reality. So the first thing is you've got to state, I am happy. And the words I am are the most powerful, the words I am are the most powerful iterations to manage energy in the universe. So I am is the signal that puts you, it's a declaration that puts you into the here and now, number one. Number two, whatever you attach to the words I am becomes the signal to the universe to take that out to completion. So when you say I am depressed, I am angry, I am pissed off, I am hurt, I am wounded, you know, that's what you're going to experience. When you say, I am happy, I am joyful, I am amazing, phenomenal, outstanding, incredible, awesome, turned on, tuned up, tweaked, authentic, responsive, relentlessly joyful, you know, all those things, you're going to experience that. You may not recognize it if you're in a negative or dark space for a little while, but you will feel lighter. And if you just say, with conviction, I am depressed, you'll feel your whole body being heavier. When you say, I am happiness, you'll feel your whole body being lighter. You know, so the first thing is to declare your state of mind, to know that you are not broken, and to make sure that you understand that being different or not being the same as everybody else is not a stigma. It's a advantage, you know, because it's the uniqueness and the weirdness of who you are that is your path in this life, that makes you happy, that makes you loving, that makes you capable of things. Because the more joyful you are, the more capable you become. So don't try to emulate somebody else. That's sort of suicidal in a way. So don't try to imitate other people. That negates the who you are, you know. So let's not, and it creates separation. You know, you don't want to create separation. You want interaction, interactivity, and you want to feel good about everybody else, at least as many as you possibly can. And even if you have conflict with other people's opinions, you got to make it okay. There's a joy in the conflict, and because the conflict teaches you something. So life is a really interesting playground. So you know, I want to get on my motorcycle and be a badass joy conductor. So,
so much fun. So I've had the pleasure of hearing hearing you speak through interviews and whatnot, and I would love for you to speak about the hero's journey, because not everybody's familiar with that concept and the way that you describe it. And perfect. So I would just love for you to, I would love for you to share about that.
You even have the heroes behind you, and I think that's important. Like you have Albert Einstein, and then you have some incredible superheroes. Yeah, I'd love for you to speak to that and talk about the hero's journey, like Jules said. That would be incredible.
Sure. Well, you know, I've helped people make. One person I helped make $12 million off the hero's journey. Another person I helped make $4 million off of that, or approximately.
That's great.
Yeah. Is a. Sorry, Julie.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
So the hero's journey has been around since before stories or whatever, but before humans have been storytellers to each other. But the hero's journey is about the fact that, you know, to make ourselves into, you know, highest potential capabilities that we have. It has very little to do with, any kind of manipulation. So, but I myself have gone through multiple hero's journeys, and I have taught other people to do the hero's journey and to understand it so that they don't get discouraged when they're in the dark part of it. So there's a dark part. You have to start with the dark part, and it goes into the light part. So sometimes you have to walk through hell to get through heaven, but the process is very, very clean and very simple, and it has a purpose. So the very beginning of the hero's journey, the inner hero to yourself, not to humanity, but you will become a humanitarian hero or a humanity hero if you go through this process. And the process is I'll just simplify it into the best I can. So there's a lot of subtleties to it, but here are the general points. The hero's journey starts with dissatisfaction. You're unsatisfied with your life. You're unsatisfied with the people around you. You're unsatisfied with your job or career or the things that you've been given to do. You're in a state of anger or frustration or despair or finality in some way. You cannot resolve the issues that are around you in a way that is satisfying to you, and so you have to leave home. And the home doesn't necessarily mean physically, although for many, many people it was for me, and for many other people it was physical. I left home to look for a new environment. I wanted to be with different people. I wanted to be under different experiences, because the same stuff that I saw around me was hypocrisy. The stuff I saw around me was unethical in a lot of different ways. The stuff I saw around me was contributed to the dark side of who we are, to fear and to difficulty and to suppression and to separation, to keep me away from things. And so I left home to experience a new environment. The hero's journey starts with leaving home in some way, internally or externally. And leaving home internally is just as valid as it is leaving externally. So the first thing that happens when you leave home is you begin to seek a new environment. Now, here's the thing. When you're in a brand new environment, you don't know the culture, you don't know the language, you don't have the skills that make a difference in that environment. But you have a vision of something you want that's better for you. But so what the universe does is says, aha, well, let's train this person so he can function in the universe that he wants and not in the universe he's left. So it gives you adversity. It gives you continuous adversity. And so it gives you one problem after another to solve. And most of us go through those adversities all of our lives, But the hero starts to find out what these adversities are teaching him or her. They begin to create competence about dealing with that situation. They begin to expand their capabilities. Even Jesus went through it. Moses went through it. Muhammad went through it. Buddha went through it. They all went through the process of this adversity. They had to find out where their true essence lay within them, and they weren't satisfied until they could do that. So they went after one, and every single movie, hero's movie or action movie or whatever, also goes through a lot of this process, whereby they have to deal with adversities, with outside forces, coming down on them to deal with things that are totally unsatisfactory. And so the resolution becomes, how do we deal with these adversities, with this impact of outside forces on us. So the hero's journey goes into how do we gain competence in the adversity? And that is that you have to go through the mental analysis and recalibration of what you are not first. And what you are not becomes the essence of where you want to go, so to what you can be or what you want to be. So we go through that process, and then it's a convergence. It's a convergence of darkness that's put on you, so that you can say, nope, not this one. No, not that one. I'm not like him. I'm not like her. I'm not going to do this. I'm not feeling that. It's a negative thing. I can't acquiesce myself to your desires because it's against what my intuition tells me is me. So you start to make this resistance, this massive resistance. And then you start to resolve these issues about, oh, I can't stand this. And you go deeply into despair, into some form of despair. And you are hurt, you're wounded because you're coming from a place of dissatisfaction and you find more dissatisfaction. But what happens is that it's just every single experience that's thrown at you through the universe, basically, whether you have any control over that universe or not, because you're trying to gain some form of control, but you don't really, at the point of the time you've left in a new environment, you don't have control of that experience. But every single experience that's thrown at you is a training ground. It's a training ground for your strength, your inner strength to develop. And the stronger and the more you're able to resolve issues within yourself, the more you're able to resolve issues externally. And so, you become stronger and stronger and stronger. There's this convergence of darkness and darkness and darkness and darkness and darkness until there comes a point where the convergence is so intense that you make a breakthrough. You can no longer say, I'm done with this, it's over. And at that point you surrender. You tell yourself, well, I've been through all this. Maybe I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to be who I am. It doesn't make any difference. I don't want to be anybody else anymore. I don't want to, play their game. I want to play my game. And I just, and then you just surrender. And it's like a glass case crumbling, and all the glass falls to the ground, and suddenly you're in a new space. Suddenly you've surrendered and your eyes open wide and you're seeing things different than you've seen before. And it's an awakening. It's what we call an awakening, or in the Japanese call it a satori. And it's a gigantic experience. It's just a small shift because it's a decision to be okay with whatever the adversity is. But it changes everything in your life. Your eyes open and suddenly you are attentive to what was once fragmented. And you're alert and you're in a constant state of alertness, not about this or that. It's not the attention to this or that. It's the attention to everything. You're in a state of attention. And in that state of attention now, the universe begins to open up. So whatever was your desires before starts to flower, and it starts to just bring out this beautiful, beautiful unfolding. And it becomes like a receptive funnel where things that you want just come to you, and just come to you and come to you with the least amount of effort, because now you're not resisting anything in the universe. Now the flow is happening within you. And as the flow happens within you, you're noticing everything around you 360. And at the same time, what happens is that, whatever your immediate conclusion or thought in a state of contemplation happens to be manifests. So there are dimensions of being. And so in the dimensions of being, we go through these experiences, layers of awareness, if you will. And in the layers of awareness, the higher the dimensionality you are able to perceive, and there's an inevitability to the higher dimensions. Once you start the process, it's inevitable to go the entire distance. So you will go the entire distance. And so the inevitability is, and then you make your decisions. What do I want here? What do I want there? What do I want to change? What do I want to leave? So you are being conscious about the things that are happening in front of you. So most of the universe is uncontrollable by you. It's like your metabolism. You don't have any real control over that. You may have some input by the food you eat, but you don't have any control about the speed of that. You can jab it a little bit and push it a little bit, but your heart beats at a particular rhythm. Your metabolism runs. The enzymes it secretes is not about you. It's not conscious. The blood that flows through your veins is not something you do consciously. I mean, we can become conscious about those things if we want to really focus on them. But the focus becomes clear. And so when you start to unfold you know, these things, basically you notice what's happening in front of you in a way that you never had before. So now you're noticing what other people think are hidden. So you come into the first dimension above being able to control the sensations of your body, which becomes time. When you begin to know that, you come into the space of being able to shed light. When you leave the dimension of time and body sensation, you now come into the dimension of light. What does light do? It splits darkness, right? So in splitting darkness, it means whatever you focus or point your attention to is illuminated. So you see what is hidden in the shadows, what other people have hidden in the shadows, what other circumstances have been in the shadows, and you see them clearly because your light is really, you know, a floodlight, a beacon of illumination. And then you start to begin to take the things you have learned from the light, and you start to become creative about that. So as you grow in your abilities, you become creative about that. You take the things you've learned, and here, I've learned how this works, so here's how I can fix this or make this better or help other people do this, or whatever the case may be. Here's how I can program this experience better. And then from the creative, and that creative becomes the signature because it's your light that is shining. So it becomes a signature. You are the only one that does this in this way. The way you wash a dish, the way you write a sentence, the way you express your joy. You're the only one that does that. Nobody else does it in the way you do it. So that's the creative part. And then you take that creativity, and without really heavy resistance, you are able to influence large numbers of people. So it's like somebody who writes a book, a best-selling book, or Picasso who does a painting. His painting will influence 25 million people. It's for an hour of his time. His energy is so strong, his light is so luminous that for ages he will illuminate and cause joy and fulfillment to millions of people, at least for the time they're seeing his work, as did Michelangelo and Da Vinci and every other great cultural hero in one form or another. So you write a book and you touch the lives of thousands of people you've never met, never seen, never had any interaction with. So you're moving in this dimension, then you're in that dimension, and then you expand that dimension, and you're in the dimension of your full consciousness, which is your interaction with source energy, the cosmos. You become galactic by nature, and I can't explain that because it's not languageable, but you can experience it. And we all go through all these things at different times. We have glimpses of every different dimension at different times, but we reside in one dimension, which is the most comfortable for us at a time until we're ready to move to the next. And everything is an illusion until you reach full consciousness. So in the process of going through these dimensions, you become this magnificent hero. You become a light onto other people. You become a creative that is recognized by not only yourself but by everybody else. It's oh my God, that's so cool. Oh my God, you're so cool. Oh my God, blah blah blah. And then you go into and you take what you've created, and then you are able, by word of mouth and by other means, whatever that happens to be, publishing, painting, whatever you do, politics, medicine, whatever, legalities, whatever you do, you are influencing others because your energy is pure and it's singular. It's not fragmented like you were before the hero's journey. Before the hero's journey, you're a fragment. Then after that situation, then you moved into the place of this great influence, which is singular energy, which is totally inclusive. So whenever anybody experiences your energy, whether it be in a book and a painting and a piece of medicine or whatever, you are changing a life. You are changing. And some more, some less, but always for the better. So that's the journey, that's the hero's journey. And the unfoldment is that you get more and more energy according to what your level of consciousness is, your level of joy is. So and every level of joy is beyond anything you imagined before. So if you go from the element of understanding time as sensation, and you move into the element of light, you've never experienced that kind of joy. It's magnificent. You don't even know what that incredible energy is. And then you go into the energy of creativity. You go, oh my God, this is so much cooler than all the other stuff. And then you go into the energy of influence. Oh my God, I'm in fucking ecstasy. I'm in ecstasy. I'm in ecstasy. I've never even, this kind of a thing existed. You know? But here's the cool thing. Now we all kind of judge our actions as having a particular kind of level of efficiency or effectiveness. But whatever level you judge yourself at, you're at the level above that, because you can't recognize the level you're in if you don't have a perspective on it. And that's really cool. So when I went through the control of time, and I was able to make it into short increments as opposed to daily kinds of things, and now I control my time by minutes and stuff like that, as opposed to, what am I going to do today, as opposed to, what am I going to do for the next 10 minutes, what impact can I have in the next, as you begin to control that, and then when you come into the light, it's an explosion of some total energy. It's like jumping onto a moving train. The energy is phenomenal. The train's going 150 miles an hour, and you can hardly hold on for your life. But it is like the greatest roller coaster ride you've ever been on. And then you jump onto the neck, and then somehow when you've begun to see all these things in the light, and you say, what can I do with all this? I'm here for a purpose. Now I know that's why my light is shining. So what can I do with all this? And you come into the next level, the level of creativity, and you go, oh my God, I've never even, how could this be that I have such a union with all these things that I'm creating? It's a yogic experience, really. Yoga is union. And so you move into the next space and the next space and the next space. And, as this happens, your energy is, not only expanding dramatically, but it's very, very singular. There's no interruption in your energy. The flow state is continuous, and it's alive. And so you notice all aliveness of all things. You can look at a plant. You can look at a leaf of grass, a leaf of a tree, or a blade of grass, and you can experience its particular aliveness, because you're in a state that is, the connectivity. You can take your attention and make connectivity with all things. This is where all the shamanic experiences happen. You shape shift into other beings. You can, you can travel galactically. You can have astral experiences. You can speak to councils of other planets and angels and guides and all of the things that are deemed as being savior experiences for people and things. So we move into a new culture, into a continuous new culture, and every culture has new values, every culture has new paradigms, and every culture has new laws. We live in a state up until in the third dimension. 95% or whatever it is of the planet lives in a third dimension. So and they vacillate in and out of the fourth dimension, which is time, but they live in the third dimension. And in the third dimension, basically, you only can experience a certain amount of what you go through. So, every dimension above gives you a much wider knowledge, much wider birth of energy, and allows you this revolution in a bigger space. And you become the element, and you become the author of revolution for you. And you and Source co-create, but you co-create deliberately and knowledgeably. It's not something that happens where you say, I want this, but you and Source are actually in a collaborative conversation, if you will, where things where things experience the way you want. Like for you guys, I said I wanted to be on this Joy Summit. Here I am. So, you know,
We
that's
wanted
pretty
you to
much.
be on it too. Definitely. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to mention at this point?
Well, you know, I want to move the human race forward. I mean, every great genius on the planet has had that goal. I mean, as I read through the Einsteins and the Da Vinci's and the Steve Jobs, and you know, all of them at some point on their written goals say, "I want to move I want to move humanity forward." So, I suggest. No, I definitely want to do that. I mean, I'm about. That's my whole mission on the planet. But I suggest anybody who wants to get happier, more successful, more amazing, keep that as the goal. Find a way to move humanity forward. And that's a dramatic new paradigm for people to immerse themselves in, because it unfolds you in a way that is just, you know, juicy and delicious in every kind of different experience that you can consider juicy and delicious. You know, and guess what? People will love you so much more, and you will love people so much more. There will be no separation in the love for each other. I mean, it will be both natural, spontaneous, and joyous in every way. So, you know, I'm a child at heart, and I wanna brighten the world, and I wanna bring beauty into this world. I want to bring truth, love, and beauty into this world in the most profound ways. So that's why I do what I do, you know. So I urge people to have a vision. I urge people to have a paradigm, like I want to move humanity forward. And I urge people to have a heart that allows them to not be upset by 99% of the experiences they have. And that's joyful and happiness to me. It has health, and it has currency and implication. It has, you know, creativity implications. You know, it commands energy. So all good things. So I'll leave it at that. I can keep going. You know, if you guys don't interrupt me, I just keep going.
Well, everything you're saying is amazing. So I know I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
Yeah, I want to write everything you're saying down. This has been like so invigorating and stimulating our brain for sure, and allowing us to think in a whole nother level. So I can't thank you enough, Harrison. This has been a wonderful power half hour with you. You know, we're going to do more summits in the future. We'd love to have you on, and they're surrounded around joy and happiness as well. But you have so much content. You're so content rich. It's been a pleasure, and I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you. Am I going to offer anything to your group?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
Yes. Okay. So I have a program I call the I Am Effect. And it is a roadmap to higher consciousness, a roadmap to joy, a roadmap to happiness, and a roadmap to success. And it's 8 modules along with multiple interviews like this that increase and intensify one's paradigm, one's internal journey, and awareness of a number of different things that make all the difference in the world and will revolutionize your life. It will change your cognition. So I've developed a methodology. It's a cognitive kind of quantum experience roadmap that allows you to dive as deeply as you possibly can into the spaces that are the internal center of everything that you experience. And so that is called the I Am Effect. And you can get it at and it's, you know, it'll change your life. I guarantee you, it has changed thousands of lives. And at the, at the current price of it, it's much cheaper, and especially because of COVID and everything else than I have, charged for it in the past. So it's at a website or at a URL called I Am Harrison Klein International. And when you say I am, it's IAM HARRISON INTERNATIONAL.com. I am Harrison Klein International. It's called the I Am Effect, and guaranteed to make a difference in your life. You'll never probably find a mechanism that is, as focused for your growth with the least amount of resistance as the I Am mechanism, the I Am effect mechanism. And, we're all children at heart, and we want to be, sometimes we've all been wounded. Sometimes we've all had, difficulty. Sometimes we've all been stigmatized for no reason. And, I find ways to deal with all those things in a way that opens up the hero's journey for you. And as I said, basically, that hero's journey will allow you to experience whatever you want for the length of your days. I walk the length of my life under the guidance of love and joy, and I hope you do too.